Hello.
What's up, my brother?
What's up, Coop?
Hey, I got a quick random ass question for you.
Fire away. Hey, Justin, what is your fluke setup? I've been getting that one a lot lately, so that's what we're going to go over in today's video. I'm going to tell you guys my soft plastic jerk bait setups. We're going to go over multiple fluke setups in this video, and I'm going to talk about 3 different reels specifically, but if you check the description, you're going to see that I have listed and linked every single fishing reel that I personally use and own. I get a lot of reel questions in the DMs and the comments and the email. So if you guys need help picking a reel, every single reel that I trust, that I use myself, and that I would recommend is linked down below in the video description. I also get a lot of questions about camera gear and video making stuff, whether it be what camera I'm using, the lens, the lighting, the audio equipment, the technical side of things. If you're interested in any of that, I've also linked every single camera and every single piece of video making equipment that I use down below in the description. So check all that stuff out if that interests you. But today we're gonna be talking about my 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 favorite setups to use, and that is my fluke setups, my flush setups, my soft plastic jerk bait hitters. Something I've been getting asked a lot lately, and I'm about to go deep right now on all of that stuff. So let's check it out. Both the Zoom Salty Super Fluke and the Flush 5.2 from 6 Cents are probably my top tier supreme confidence baits. And then if you watch my last video, you saw where we got our hands on the first wave of Shindos. So I'm sure I'll be adding this to the arsenal, but I wanted to talk to you guys about the gear that I use to throw these baits, the updated version, because I have made some changes. I have a couple right here that I'm gonna show you, and then 3 or 4 more in the boat. I use these setups for 2 of my favorite techniques, and I'll talk about how these transfer over so that I can cover multiple bases with this style of gear. Basically, the 6'9" medium moderate heater is the foundation. This is one of my older soft plastic jerkbait setups. You can see I got the Zoom Fluke rigged up right here, but I have made some adjustments, some updates, and some upgrades to my soft plastic jerkbait setup, and I'm gonna show you that in this video as well. But first, I wanna talk to you really quickly about my friends over at Deep Dive. The Deep Dive fishing app is my one-stop digital shop when it comes to fishing apps. This one right here is the only one that I ever turn to anymore. There's a lot of really useful, valuable information in the Deep Dive app. Everything from wind effects, water clarity, stream flow, water inflows, bait tools, best areas, tournament patterns, and more. And it's a very simple and intuitive app to use. Here on my home lake, you can see there in that upper left corner, 5 foot low. Earlier this year, we were 45 feet low. So we have got a ton of water lately. You guys probably heard about the flooding here in Texas. That practically filled the lake. So I'm gonna click into the water clarity section. I'm gonna show you guys something really cool. They have this filter here. You click the filter button, and then you can slide the slider around and move it from dirty to clear. And it'll tell you where all the cleanest water is in the lake, and it'll tell you where all the dirtiest water is in the lake. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of inflow, a lot of mud, a lot of debris, and they've been advising people to stay away from that stuff. And to be honest with you, when the water gets too muddy, it's just difficult fishing. So I use this little slider right here to find the water that I want to fish. That little section right there, that's kind of the areas that I want to be focusing on right now. Just slightly stained, lower that visibility just a little bit, but still clear enough for all of my confidence colors and my natural patterns to work. But they got bait tools if you need help picking a bait. They got the best areas of the lake, morning, afternoon, sunset. It'll tell you a lot of different info in here. They got the weather tab, and actually the weather tab is really detailed. You can see the moon phases, the wind gusts, barometric pressure, and of course the temperature. Wind effects, always extremely useful. Yeah, I love the wind effects tab. That's my favorite feature. But anyways, just wanted to show you guys a few things in the Deep Dive app. Shout outs to Deep Dive for supporting the channel. You guys check them out at the link down below in the video description. Shout outs to Deep Dive, and shout outs to all of you for not skipping through that promo, right? Right. All right. Back to the Fluke setup. The older Fluke setup, 6'9" medium moderate heater series. This rod is the foundation of my soft plastic jerk bait setups. It's absolutely dialed for throwing a weightless jerk bait. Loads up great. You can sail it out there a mile, but it has enough backbone to crack a hook set and get the fish to the boat. 6'9" medium moderate, one of the most versatile rods in the lineup. And since we're talking about versatility, I might as well go ahead and tell you, I have like easily 4 or 5 of these rigged up at all times. My man Cooper Thor, shout outs to Coop again over at the 6. I have, like I said, 4 or 5 of this style setup rigged up at all times. 6'9" medium moderate heater, and then some sort of Shimano reel. I'll talk about the reels here in this video as well. The crossover, you guys know I love throwing a small profile square bill. So every one of these setups is gonna have either 15 or 12 pound fluorocarbon line on it, and I can roll back and forth between the fluke and the square bills, the small, lighter weight square bills like the Crush 50 or the Curb Finesse. You can see those back here on the tackle wall behind me. My favorite square bills, love to throw those. 2 of my favorite techniques of all time, the flush and the square bill. So I love the fact that I can literally just cut this fluke off and tie on a square bill, and I'm good to go with the same setup. So there's some crossover there, and that's why I have so many rigged up at the same time. I prefer a 7-to-1 on the fluke. I will throw a square bill on a 6-to-1 most of the time, but I'll also turn and burn with those suckers too. So the 7.2-to-1 Shimano SLX DC does great. It's excellent for throwing the fluke in the wind. If you have a hard time throwing weightless baits, the lighter baits, then you might want to consider throwing a DC, either in a 6-to-1 or a 7-to-1. And then when it comes to rigging up the bait, I like to throw my fluke on a 4/0 Gamakatsu EWG light wire hook. Just like that, Texas rigged, weightless. You can see this one got beat up recently. It needs to be replaced. But if you watch the Bank Beater Heater series, you saw me catching fish on this exact bait right here. There he is. Got him. This is one for certain. No question, this is a fish. Heck yeah, dude. Digger. He's a fighter. They're fired up, strong. He showed himself a few times. It's a good one. Come up here, buddy. Give up. I will release you. Heck yeah, dude. Another nice, healthy one. That's 4 fish, 4 baits. Sweet, dude. Let her, dude. You're good. Just a 4/0 EWG, directly tied. And since we need to replace this, I'll go ahead and show you guys how I rig these baits. So I'm going to show you how I rig the fluke, and I'm going to show you how I rig the flush. If you want to see specifically exactly how I rigged up the Shindo, go watch my last video. The Shindo being the new minnow style, jerkbait style bait from 6 Sense that we unveiled. But basically, here it is. Zoom Salty Super Fluke. Probably the most popular soft plastic jerkbait ever. Old reliable. The Lavender Shad Zoom Fluke. Super heater, super confidence. I've been throwing this bait on this channel for years. Seriously, can't tell you how many fish I've caught on video with this bait right here on this YouTube channel. But I go straight into the nose, and then where you come out on the chin is gonna have an effect on how the bait swims. I like a little bit more weight up front, so directly centered straight into the nose, and then just before that bait splits, you see it has a split right here in the belly that starts right below the chin. Right around there, just before that split, I like to come out. So you see I've got like almost an inch, 3/4 of an inch maybe, of the bait on the hook. Try to let you guys get a good look at where that hook point is coming out. Just a small 1/8 to a 1/16 of an inch section of plastic below the hook point before that split in the belly starts. Slide that thing all the way up. turn it around, and then just rig it weedless, just like that right there. So you can see the eye of the hook is partially hidden by the soft plastic. This, I've noticed, helps me keep it from hopping out of the water too much. I want to fish this slightly subsurface. And the reason for that, the reason why this is such a deadly setup from springtime all the way through summer and into the fall, and the reason why I'm making this video right now, summertime, a lot of the time I'm throwing something like this right here. The 6 cent scramble, top water, prop bait, or a catwalk, a walking bait, something up on the top. And the fish's metabolism is fired up in the summertime. It's my favorite time to throw top water. Fish are blowing up on the surface. Right there, dude. That's a nice one. You see that? And then that sort of slows down once you get into the hotter parts, late July, August, especially here in Texas. But the thing about it is, this year, we've had an unseasonably cool summer. It really hasn't been too hot, at least not by Texas standards. So the fish are still cracking. They're still blasting up top. The fluke or the flush, that's my follow-up bait. For if they're swiping, if they're blowing up, but they're barely missing it, if I get a hit and the fish doesn't get hooked, I'm gonna throw back in there with a soft plastic jerkbait as my follow-up bait, the 1-2 punch. And that is going to help me get those fish that didn't quite connect on that top water to the boat. It's one of my favorite combinations to fish. That's why I'm talking about this right now. Springtime all the way through summer, all the way into the fall. The flush, the fluke, it's just my super confidence. It's something I've caught so many fish on, and I've got multiple questions lately in the DMs, in the comments. Hey Justin, what's your fluke setup? So that's why we're rolling through this right now today. This is the older fluke setup. SLX DC for throwing this light bait in the wind, 6'9" medium moderate heater. But wait, there's more. I have made some adjustments and some updates to the setup. This is 15-pound fluorocarbon on this one. Check this out. Get a little sip of my coffee out of Leonardo. Heroes on that half shell. Turtle power. I recently built out this combo and it has become my #1 gunner for throwing out these type of baits right here. This is the same rod, 6'9" medium moderate heater series. Like I said, that's the foundation. But the reel is the SLX DC70, the JDM digitally controlled 70 size reel, spooled up with 12-pound fluorocarbon. And I freaking love this thing for throwing the weightless fluke or the weightless flush. It's dialed. This is the perfect fluke setup. It's money. I have grown to love it so much. It's perfect. The 12-pound fluoro on the 70 size spool combined with the DC Tech is just money for throwing a weightless jerk bait. 70 size spool, it's gonna help you, that pickup inertia is gonna be easier because the spool isn't as deep. So it just casts a little bit, with a little bit less effort, you can get that distance. Then you got the digitally controlled braking system, the JDM Shimano SLX 70 DC. Freaking love this reel. I got it in a 6.3-to-1 because like I said, sometimes I will throw square bills on these setups. Something I haven't done with this one in particular, but that's why I went with the 6-to-1. I do like to fish the soft jerkbait on a 7-to-1 a lot of the time because I'm fishing it fast. I'll talk about how I fish it here in a minute too. I'll give you guys like my retrieve, sort of my retrieve technique. It is a reaction bite. I'm not like dead sticking that thing, letting it sit in the water. Most of the time I'm twitching that thing across just slightly subsurface and getting those fish to come up and smash it. But this setup right here, this is my new hitter. I absolutely love this one for throwing a weightless jerkbait. Got an empty hook here, so I'll go ahead and show you guys how I rig up my favorite, the next generation, my new favorite soft plastic jerkbait. It has become the Flush 5.2 from 6 cents. You guys can see there's a whole lot more detail on this bait than there is on the old Zoom Salty Super Fluke. Still love both baits, still throw both baits, but this is my number one go-to. This is a Ghost Ice Minnow Flush 5.2. You can see how much detail there is in the body. There's a lot of ridges. It's got fins on the side. It's got a split dorsal fin. It's got a forked tail, but it has this little ball molded into the tip of the tail that gives it some erratic action, helps that tail dance around a little bit more, kind of counterweights it onto the back, so when it is falling down, it's gonna fall flush to the bottom of the lake, parallel. That's sort of where the name comes from. It falls horizontal instead of dipping and diving. Falls just like this, which can be a good thing if you're fishing it slower. But like I said, I'm throwing them fast. The Flush 5.2 from 6th Sense. I remember the first time I got my hands on this bait, I went out and filmed the video and caught multiple dragons. It's here on the channel if you want to check it out. But I'll show you guys quickly how I rigged this. It's very similar to the way that I rigged the Fluke, but the nose section on the Flush is a little bit shorter. I'm still gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna come out just before that split starts. So I've got about that much of the bait at the top of the hook. Again, pay close attention to how much of that line tie is covered by the soft plastic. It's exactly the same as how I rigged it with the old Zoom Fluke. And then I'm gonna come out just behind the split in that dorsal fin. And this is one of the things about the Flush that I feel like is better than the Fluke. Look at this. This is the secondary namesake to this bait. The hook point sits perfectly flush with the back side of the bait. This thing is 100% weedless. Your EWG style hook is gonna fall right directly into the center of that split dorsal fin, and it just makes the perfect rig. I mean, you would never know there's a hook in there until you get bit. That right there is my go-to, my number one soft plastic jerkbait setup. Like I said, love the Fluke, still love throwing the Fluke, but this right here, a little bit more detail, a little bit more lifelike, a little bit more realistic when it comes to the actual bait mold itself. There's more detail. It's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit heavier, so I can get the bait out there just a little bit further. And this right here has become my premier number one go-to soft plastic jerkbait setup. Reiterate one more time really quick. 6.9 medium moderate heater, JDM SLX DC 70, 6.3 to 1, 12-pound fluorocarbon. That's key. The lighter line, I've really been loving throwing the weightless jerkbait on the lighter line lately. Again, 4/0 Gamakatsu EWG light wire hook and the Flush 5.2 and Ghost Ice Minnow from 6th Sense Fishing. And that right there is a super heater. But wait, there's more. Like I said, I got a few of these suckers rigged up, and I got one more I want to show you in case you can't afford to get an SLX DC, or you can't afford to get the JDM 70 DC SLX. I've got another slightly more budget-friendly option over here that I've also been really enjoying throwing these lighter baits on. Here she is right here. This is the SLX XT. You guys may remember where we did an unboxing, first impressions, and rigging and cast test video on the SLX XT. Again, 6.3 to 1, 12-pound fluorocarbon. And you might notice that I actually have a Crush 50X square bill tied on to this rig right now. Like I said, guys, crossover. I like to be able to do multiple things with the same setup. And this is perfect for throwing both the weightless jerkbaits and the small profile square bills. One more time, the foundation, the 6.9 medium moderate heater series, that never changes. But the SLX XT is a more budget-friendly reel that I have absolutely loved using. It's great, dude. This, you don't need anything else. Most anglers, especially if you're a bank angler or if you're just a weekender, this is all you need, dude. This thing is amazing for the money. I think it's like 129 bucks. Dude, SLX XT, you got the external braking adjustment, looks really cool. Gunmetal and blue, 6.3 to 1 on the gear ratio on this one. Again, like I said, throwing square bills and the jerk bait helps me slow down a little bit, better for the moving baits. 7 to 1, 6 to 1, you're gonna be good with either when it comes to the soft plastic jerk bait. So I've got a couple 7s, I've got a couple 6s, but this SLX XT, it's been money for throwing both the square bills and the jerkbait. So I wanted to mention it. Love all three of these setups that I just showed you. But my number one, without a doubt, I think the ultimate weightless jerkbait setup is this right here. Shimano SLX DC70, 6.3 to 1, 12-pound fluoro on the 6.9 medium moderate heater. You cannot beat this for throwing a fluke, dudes. This is where it's at. Now I want to talk about how I fish this bait. Talked a little bit about why I fish this bait. And I'm not saying that I only use it as a follow-up to top water, but right now, throwing a lot of top water. Summertime, you want to get those top water blow-ups. So I have this as my secondary, my backup bait, my follow-up bait. But there are trips in the springtime, in the fall time, and in the summertime where I go out and this is all I throw. Like I said, man, it's my supreme confidence. I just have so much faith in the ability of a weightless jerkbait to go out there and generate a bite. If it gets tough, if I just need to put something in the boat, chances are this is what I'm gonna pick up. So when I am throwing this, no matter the conditions, it's generally, like I said, fishing it fast, twitching it just slightly subsurface, a few inches to half a foot to a foot below the surface of the lake. I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna give it twitches on semi-slack line. That's important. You know, you want your line to be semi-slack. You don't want there to be too much tension when you start that movement. That semi-slack line is gonna allow that bait to dance around, dart around like a fleeing bait fish would do in real life. But once you get the feel for it, like you don't want your line to be too loose, but you don't want it to be too tight. It's sort of a balance. And once you get the feel for it, once you pay attention to how this thing is looking under the surface of the water, when it gets back close to the boat or back close to the shoreline, wherever you're fishing, you'll start to understand how you need to fish it in order for it to look the most realistic. So I'm throwing it out there, I'm twitching it on semi-slack line, and I'm reeling with I'm doing reel cranks in between my twitches. So I'm like twitch, reel, twitch, reel, twitch, reel, twitch, reel, but not exactly like that. It's more like twitch, 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 reel, twitch, twitch, reel, reel, twitch, twitch, reel, different cadences, 3 twitches, 1 twitch, 1 twitch, 2 twitch, 2 twitch, 4 twitch. And I'll change it up, switch it up, and try to just put a lot of variability in how many times I twitch the bait so that it's just dart, 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 dart. And one other thing I just thought about when I was making that motion with my hand, something that the flush does better than the fluke. When you stop this bait, it tends to glide off. It glides off a little bit better than the fluke, where the fluke is not gonna glide quite like the flush is. That's just such a killer freaking bait right there, dude. You could hide your hook point inside the bait if you wanted to. I generally don't, but if you text pose this, you can literally throw it into anything and it'll come through there, dude. You can throw it into any wood, any sticks, anything. And that hook point is not gonna go into whatever you're fishing through. So that's my 3-piece. My 3-piece in a biscuit. Soft plastic jerkbait setups. Like I said, I do have a couple more 6.9 medium moderates rigged up, but these are the 3 main tools that I'm using to throw. And lately it's been all about this SLX DC70. Freaking loving this rig for throwing a weightless jerkbait. But I've given you a few options here. Another reel that I do use and love for throwing these baits is the Corrado 70, just a straight up Corrado 70. It's got MGL technology in it and it's excellent for throwing the lighter baits as well. So that's another option. It's a more expensive reel, more expensive than the SLX XT. But man, any one of those setups that I've just shown you, those are my fluke setups. Those are my rigs for throwing these type of baits right here, man. The soft plastic jerk bait, my supreme confidence. You guys have been asking for it, so I wanted to give it to you. Now, we touched on top water in this video. I talked about using the fluke as a follow-up to top water. While that's not the only way I utilize it, as mentioned, I will go out there and just fish that sucker because supreme confidence. But we touched on top water, and I have a feeling you guys would be interested in seeing what top water baits I'm throwing right now. Here in the dead of summer, still fishing top water in Texas. They're still smashing, and that video is gonna come next. So if you guys are interested in seeing all my top water rigs that I have rigged up right now, what baits I'm throwing right now in the heat of summer. Stick around, subscribe to the channel, click like on this video if it helped you out. Thank you so much for tuning in, but that's about all I got for you today. That about does it. That about wraps her on up. So I'm gonna say goodbye for now, and I will see you on the next one.
Oh, shit.